I am 24 years old and currently 8 months pregnant. Since announcing my pregnancy, my aunt and cousin have been relentless in pressuring me to give up my baby for adoption. My spouse and I already love our daughter deeply and have no intention of parting with her. However, my aunt believes that my cousin, who has struggled with infertility for the past 5 years, should raise my child instead. For context, my aunt played a significant maternal role in my sister's and my life after our mother passed away when we were young. We have always maintained a close bond with both her and my cousin, and I have supported my cousin throughout her infertility struggles. However, my aunt is a devout Mormon with rigid beliefs about family structure, morality, and religious upbringing. She insists that a child should be raised by a devoted mother, a father who provides, and within a strong religious foundation. Because my partner and I both work full-time and do not share the same religious beliefs, my aunt claims that our child will lack proper care, identity, and moral guidance. She believes my cousin, who works part-time from home, would be a more suitable parent. My cousin and her husband recently moved to a new home, and I have blocked them on most platforms to prevent further interference in my medical decisions. To further protect our growing family, my boyfriend and I had a private wedding ceremony. Escalation and harassment. My aunt's actions have become increasingly aggressive. She once came to my previous apartment, yelling and attempting to educate me about my cousin's situation. She even tried to arrange a meeting at a cafe near her church to discuss my baby, pretending to be conciliatory. When I refused, she persisted, leading me to inform the apartment manager and hide in my home until she left, 30 minutes later. In addition, she has involved members of her church, who have left me angry voicemails and texts. While my cousin has been quieter, she is dealing with grief and trauma following the loss of her baby at 30 weeks due to preterm labor. She frequently participates in motherhood-related forums and has reportedly been removed from multiple groups for pressuring widows and young mothers to give up their children for adoption. My cousin sees my unborn child as a replacement for her late daughter and is convinced that, once I experience the struggles of parenthood, I will willingly give her my baby. Both she and my aunt believe that I can always have more children later and that, as family, giving up my child shouldn't be a difficult choice. Protecting my boundaries. To avoid stress during my pregnancy, I have cut off communication with my cousin and will only reconsider after giving birth, depending on her emotional state. Growing up, I was close to her and supported her through her infertility, but her recent behavior has alarmed me. Given these concerns, I am hesitant about inviting my aunt and cousin to the large wedding celebration my husband and I are planning for next year. While many family members support me now, I worry about how this situation will evolve in the coming year. I have already skipped several family gatherings to avoid confrontation, but I don't want to miss out on important moments forever. Confronting the religious pressure. I was raised in a culture that views having children as a reward for leading a moral life. Young, single, or struggling mothers are often pressured into adoption rather than supported. The church has historically played a significant role in facilitating adoptions, often encouraging birth mothers to correct their lives by giving up their babies to infertile Mormon couples. This practice now terrifies me. My aunt and cousin are deeply involved in the church, so we spoke with a local religious leader about their harassment. Initially, he dismissed my concerns as a family dispute and suggested counseling. However, after learning about my cousin's persistent belief that she would adopt my child and my aunt's role in feeding these delusions, he promised to speak with them. During a follow-up conversation, he expressed concern that I had cut off communication and suggested that I reconnect with my cousin. He also mentioned that her IVF treatments were unlikely to succeed, and she was considering adoption. Despite his understanding, he continued to pressure me to meet with them, suggesting therapy. I firmly reiterated that I was not giving up my baby. Taking control. Uncomfortable with his response, I decided to send a direct message to my cousin. I made it clear that there would be no discussion about my baby and that I did not feel comfortable with her husband, or my aunt being involved in my child's life. I also urged her to seek professional therapy. She has not responded, and regardless of her reply, our relationship will never be the same. Life after birth. The past few months have been incredibly busy as I've been focused on my daughter and My recovery. My baby is now almost 4 months old, and at 25, I am preparing to return to work. She is growing fast, and I love spending time with her. Since my last update, my aunt and cousin have remained relatively quiet. In August, my aunt contacted me using a different phone number after my cousin ignored my message. She inquired about my well-being and whether I had given birth. She expressed concern because I had distanced myself from family and left my job. During our brief conversation, she mentioned that my cousin and her husband had been trying to adopt through church connections but were struggling. When I asked if they had approached a legitimate adoption agency, my aunt instead ranted about declining birth rates and societal attitudes toward motherhood. Eventually, she once again asked if I still wanted my baby. I firmly told her yes. She then tried to persuade me to allow my cousin to be involved in my daughter's life, claiming that my cousin had received church therapy and was trying to improve. I refused, fearing that she would attempt to play the role of a mother. Frustrated, my aunt asked if I knew of anyone looking to adopt, then switched the topic to my own future family planning. When she suggested that she and my cousin should be involved in my next pregnancy, I ended the conversation. Moving forward, my sister keeps me updated on my former church and my extended family. She confirmed that my cousin's mental health has improved, but she still experiences depressive episodes due to her infertility. My cousin and her husband are now exploring IVF treatments abroad in hopes of conceiving. For obvious reasons, my family and I decided to skip Thanksgiving this year. I plan to return to work after the holidays and have already arranged safe and reliable daycare for my daughter. Despite everything, the future looks promising. I deeply appreciate the support I have received, and I am optimistic about moving forward. As an interesting note, my aunt, who once claimed she would be like a grandmother to my future children, now seems far more focused on my cousin's journey to parenthood. It appears her priorities have shifted. Thank you to everyone who has supported me. If you have any questions about parenting, Mormonism, or my family situation, feel free to ask.